Hey everyone, and welcome back. Just to recap, the 67 double cab had an oil leak that I've been kind of chasing for a while, and I determined that it was most likely the distributor having the wrong O-ring on it, and so I went and purchased a couple of those, and for some reason the audio dropped out here, so we're going to pick up where the audio picks back up and get that O-ring on and get it back in the bus. Just a little bit here. This truck makes a perfect work height, work table. There's the difference. I don't know if you could see that or not, but pretty drastic difference in the size of those suckers. I mean, that didn't stand a chance of sealing. Not even close. Not even close. I'm just gonna put a little bit of engine oil on it and try my best to get it on there without destroying it. Again, I bought 2 of them, thinking the way things go with me, chances are I'll break one of them getting it on there. Hopefully you can see okay. Just cut my fingernail, so make it a little challenging. There we go. Much better. Much better. Can't move it at all. Even with the oil I put behind it. And there's no slop at all. Let's go put that in there. See what we get. I think you'll see why I did the multicolor the way I did. Here in just a second. I'm going to clean up right behind there. I've got a little bit of a drip of something, I'm not sure what. Probably just a little bit of cleaner that I didn't get totally cleaned out of there. The wind is going to blow you down. Wow. Already notice a big difference. Before you could just pop it in and out. Now it doesn't want to go down in there. So now I'm going to have to oil that up to get it to slide down in there. Need a little lube. Now watch yourself. I'd put you on more stable ground. Yeah. I'm gonna have to move you. Drastic times call for drastic measures. Don't judge. I can tell you one thing for sure. If we have an oil leak from now on, I can tell you where it's not. It's not right here. I am back on the bolt in the back. So I can't pivot it too much. So close. Get in there, you goofball. Yes! I don't like beating on things. It doesn't quite look like it's all the way down. Got a little bit of a gap right there. So give it a couple more gentle taps and go ahead and get that nut on the back side of this bracket. We're locked in, so should be good. We had it on there before. We were pointed back to number 1. And so that should now be still pointed back to number 1. So you can take that and make sure that the little pins on the distributor are locked in down here. And if they're not lined up, the distributor won't set all the way down. So we were locked in before, and it just needed another good tap. And now we are down all the way. Praise the gods and the man Jesus. Probably give it one more little tap for good measure, and call it good. But it's the next evening, and I am enjoying a cup of Java here before we stick this in. I already have the pieces I was going to weld for the hitches welded in. This is what I ended up going with. I don't get too wild and crazy in there because I don't have room to stick a wrench in there to get those out. So I've got to I'm going to tighten the belt up while we're out so that we don't have to try to finagle that when we get it inside the bus. It's really not that hard to get to, but easier to do it when I'm sitting on a stool right out here. So we're pretty much ready to shove it back in. That cable you see hanging down there is the throttle. Fuel line has been replaced back there, and the reason is, let me see if I can find the piece I want to show you. This hose clamp here was on that line, and it had wedged itself to the point it was cutting through the braided portion. And I'm certain it wasn't through it all the way, but because it's kind of hard to get to and I didn't trust it, I just went ahead and replaced the line, and we obviously put a new hose clamp on, but I've never seen one really break quite like that. So I was kind of glad I pulled the engine just so we could find that, because if the line had come off, it might have been a fire. Probably not, but it might have been. So we got that fixed, we got that line replaced, and we should be in good shape. Well, guys and gals, I'll be real honest with you. I'm fighting this belt going on here. There's an aftermarket pulley on here, and I painted that up, and I'm going to have to repaint it. It is not wanting to go on there straight. Normally, you can just grab it and pinch it, tighten it up, and this belt will slowly work its way out. Let me see if I can get the tripod set up, and I'll show you what's happening on this one. I called Dad and said, okay, Dad, what was the trick we did the last time on this? Because we fought this one before, and he said, I think we changed the pulley on it. I'm pretty sure we did too. So we changed it for one that was worse. Kind of find that hard to believe. But you should be able to just grab onto it and shove the top of that pulley, of the belt up, and then when you tighten it, it should just align itself. This is unidirectional, so it's curved on one end and then it's notched like a square on the base side here, so it'll only go on there one way, and that is this way. And then I'm not going to put any shims on the outside. We'll just use our washer and our nut. And I've even tried cutting a little piece. You can already see it's angled in a little bit. I even tried cutting a little piece of the belt off this little four-wheeled car. So Mr. D broke this yesterday, and I fixed that. So I even cut a little piece off of that belt. And yes, that's running a Volkswagen. A Volkswagen belt. An old one. One as I kept as a backup. So I even tried kind of wedging that in there to keep it from kind of tucking in. But I'll show you what happens. If anybody knows a trick to these, let me know, because I'm fixing to change it out for a completely different pulley altogether. You can kind of see it starting to kick out. You should be able to grab right here. Now watch, it'll work this time. There it goes, it's tipping into the bottom, you see it? See that? It's starting to V in right here and getting whiter at the top. Yeah, so how about them apples, huh? So I've got to come up with some way to get that sucker to line up. I'm saying just trade it out for one that doesn't do that. Aftermarket junk. Well, Dad came through with the parts hoard, managed to find these two. So this one is 12 volt. This one's 6 volt. See the difference? So when this one goes on, the alternator, it sets back further. This one steps out. So that one's going back home with him. Wire wheeled this one to the best of my ability. We're going to slap some paint on it and let that dry and get it on the bus. So the awesome thing about any air-cooled Volkswagen is they're pretty easy to pull the engine and put the engine back. There are 4 bolts. I was going to show you in there, but I think we got more light out here. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we'll just match those up inside and we're good to go. It's pretty easy to put it back in there. I just got to get the alignment right for bell housing, but it's actually not bad at all on a bus, and certainly not bad using one of these jacks. This is a motorcycle jack from Harbor Freight. Makes it a one-man job or a one-woman job, depending on who you're working with. I'm gonna try putting you right there. I don't know what you'll be able to see, if anything, but we'll give that a whirl. Might be kind of boring. The really nice thing about a bus is once you can get under it and see where everything's lining up, and then it just kind of, I'll say this and then it won't go back. There, okay. Well, nothing like fighting junk parts, but it is in the bus. The electric still needs hooked up. Clean that pulley up, slap some paint on it, and the awesome thing about that pulley, didn't even have to hold it. Just put the belt behind it, tightened her down, and it just went on like it's supposed to. But everything is back together. Fought it a little bit getting it in, but the hard part is done. Now I'm going to hook up the electrics and hopefully get a chance to go to the little cruise-in tomorrow night. The bumper needs to go back on too because it looks pretty terrible without it, but here's the reason this thing failed. Put my light up here. See that? Shouldn't be that much slop in that thing. And there's slop this way too. Won't be able to make it do it holding it one-handed. See that? Nah, you can't see that. Yeah. So that is junk. That is going into the might be better than the parts I have someday pile, but there's a reason that won't tighten up correctly. This should not do this. See that? So when you go to tighten it on, that belt gets kind of just turned kittywampus, and it just won't go on there right. So that guy goes into the might be recycled pile. Yeah. Anyway, I'll bring you back when I can tomorrow when we've got some daylight, and hopefully we can get this thing moving down the road. I think we're ready to try it with the key. Good grief. This should have been like a 2-hour project, but the way my life is, it gets strung out over, I don't know, 3 weeks. Let's see if we got fire. Just check the oil in it. It's checking just a little bit over full, but we've had that out, and the full flow system over there. I just want to make sure that it doesn't need to fill that up. So we're going to start it, let it run for just a minute, and then we'll shut it off and wait a little bit and check it again, make sure. Might have it just a little bit over full. Gotta hook the battery up first. I even said that earlier, didn't I? Oh. It helps if you got power to the key. It's always a good thing. Get my paper towel out from under there. Alright. It's a little oily there. Alright, let's try that. That should be an improvement. Burning off all my oil over there. Or my grimy little grease stained mitts have been all over it. Let it run for a couple minutes and then we'll check the oil again after we let it sit. Good to hear it running again. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's amazing what a little bit of a dress up will do. Put that bumper on and it just really changes the whole back end look. So we got it done in time to make it to the cruise in. As long as nothing falls off, we should be good to go. I'm going to drop that deck lid down, roll this canvas up. I have loaded the little man's little car. He did not want to take the go-kart. He wanted to take that. So we're going to take that with us. Let me get the sides rolled up here. I checked the oil again and it's barely, I mean just a tiny smidge over full, so I think we're good. I'm going to run it. I only have one bolt on each side of the bumper, so we're going to chance it. I need to take it back off because I'm going to do just a little bit more work under there. I'm going to get too involved, but it feels pretty secure. I don't think it's going anywhere. So I think we're good to go. I think I'm going to back it out and just kind of take the hose and spray it off. I don't know if you can see that or not. You sure could probably see. No? There's a big old cobweb on the bicycle there. But it is filthy. This thing's been sitting in the dirtiest bay in the carport. So let me hit it with a hose real quick. Just knock some of the rough stuff off. Well, we're rolling into Martinsville right now. Dad's ahead of me. Probably can't see him. I don't know if this will be a turnout tonight or not. The weather's perfect. Helps if you hit the right gear. Looks like there's a few up here. Well, I don't think I can go the same speed as you. I'm gonna go over and look at this bike real quick, okay? You coming down? look at the tires on that.
Go back to the bus.
Well, a good time was had by all at the cruise in. I was just happy to be able to make it. About an hour before we were getting ready to leave, I was throwing that bumper on the back of this bus. So just happy to be able to even have attended this week. We had a good time. We'll definitely be back. It was a great cruise in, our first time ever to go to that one. Everybody had a safe trip back, and the cars drove awesome. So that is a good thing for us. And even the little man had some fun riding some of his rides. He's got the little tricycle here. And the four-wheeled cart was a huge hit. It's just called an auto cycle. And it used to be shaft driven. I need to repair it back to shaft. I bought it converted as a pulley drive or a belt drive. So I need to flip it back the other way. I have the pieces to make it go shaft driven, and then the little tricycle. So even the kick bike was a hit. Needs a little cleanup, but even that was a hit. Thanks for watching, everybody. I really appreciate each and every one of you being here, and I'll see you next time. Fun and good to drive. So, yeah.
I'm going in. I have to pee.
Okay.